All right, everybody, welcome back to the Big Blue Dynasty Series here on Madden 25. We are doing a little bit of a summary here in this season. The reason for that is I'd like to just kind of speed this up. The games have been fun on Madden regarding this series now that we have a competent quarterback. But I wanted to just kind of push this through and kind of keep it rolling. My goal is I'd like to play a couple more seasons of this Big Blue Dynasty series, knowing that we do have a real draft class set up now by JackMove 916 on PlayStation 5. So that's going to give us an opportunity to ensure that we have the real players, the real names out there pretty much to the end of this series and into the next Madden. The New York Football Giants have been fun. Now, we did have an injury, right? Shedeur Sanders is out, so we're leaning on Hendon Hooker now. And Hooker, honestly, hasn't been playing too bad. What I like about him is, although he has a low OVR, we kind of focused on just playing within his means. Hendon Hooker is pretty under the radar when it comes to his abilities, and it's because he came out of college with an ACL tear. But I think the guy has great mobility. I think he has the ability. He also has the ability to throw the ball downfield too. And with the wide receivers that we currently have on the field, he's going to be just fine. Now, he did throw a pick here, and that was kind of tough, but you're going to make those kind of mistakes, and we got to make sure we make the right reads there. Commanders have a pretty solid defense, so those are the things that we always have to take into account. As far as the rest of the team right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. The defense continues to play well. With the addition of Eric Stokes at the cornerback position, it's really helped us out right now. And we can allow those guys to kind of play that man coverage there, and that creates the opportunity for us to just kind of attack and go after the QB. The running game continues to be strong, and what I'm trying to look forward to right now is how can we allow ourselves to get to the point of just being a high octane offense all day long. As long as we can keep the defense there and even, we're going to be just fine. It was such a huge parallel, such a huge difference from last year, where the defense, it felt like, was on the field for an extended length of time, and it was hurting us quite a bit. Malik Neighbors is always going to be our focal point on this team. The receiving setup right now that we have for him is just right, and as long as he ends up staying healthy for more seasons to come, I think he's going to have a chance to have a Hall of Fame career. The other players on the team, like Daniel Bellinger, I hope end up finding a spot here on the team. But I think how we have it set up right now is Malik Neighbors is the main mouth to feed at this time. This series is still fun. The Mat 10 sliders that we currently have right now are still working out. I'm not seeing anything too weird. The O-line has and will always be an issue on Madden. Just EA in general is not too great when it comes to O-line designation. So, I think we have that to worry about. But also the O-line for the Giants aren't really that great too. So that's something for us that we have to continue to focus on, is how do we continue to build the O-line there while still trying to keep the rest of the players. Now, fortunately, we've had some good luck with Torrey Horton as the other wide receiver there. So if we can keep Shaheed, Wan'Dale Robinson, Horton, and Neighbors together, we should be fine. Theo Johnson is also a very good player for us, versatile player, tight end, that I'd like to keep on this roster too. The running back group, in my opinion, is in a pretty good spot, because you're talking about the ability of you're talking about the ability of our running back crew. It's been pretty good so far. Like I said, I like what I'm seeing with my guys, and hopefully we can kind of keep that right now. What a play right there by the Commanders as McLaren just gets open wide up, coming up from left to right there. That's kind of insane. Now, can we keep the rest of the pieces together like our defense? I think we're going to have to continue to work through that. I like so far how this team has been developing. I just need to find another equal defensive lineman to play there for the alongside Dexter Lawrence. I think I've found some decent ends, but you know, we got to continue to work through that. That was a good play right there by Jaden Daniels, by the way. 39 seconds left, 18-17 here. The Giants kind of in trouble here, right? The Jaden Daniels is kind of throwing dots everywhere, and we got to figure out how we're going to work through it. But Hendon Hooker, to me, though, is a very good player, and he seems to figure things out. And look at that throw right there. Ends up being a huge dot to Wan'Dale Robinson to not only put us within range, but check this out. We have a chance to score a touchdown here. We got 2 timeouts left with 22 seconds left on the clock. So Hendon Hooker has the blockers as well, and it's good. He takes off right there. Look at that. Look at that speed that he still has. Huge touchdown there for us to take the lead, but that let me know that, okay, we're going to be okay. Hendon Hooker does have 2 years on his contract, so I'm like, okay, we can keep him for another year and potentially have an extension to keep him as an all-time backup, because I think Hendon Hooker is a good spot for us. And in real life, I think I could see this happening where there's so much success in Detroit right now with Jared Goff that you might be willing to let Hendon Hooker go. And if Ben Johnson goes to the Giants, or if Ben Johnson goes anywhere, why would he not want to bring someone like Hendon Hooker along with him, who knows his system and who has the potential to even start? And what a cheap start would that be compared to the $40 to $60 million quarterbacks that are currently in the NFL right now. That was a big win right there for Hendon Hooker. As you can see, there were a lot of trades going on around the league, and they were all quite comfortable with where they stood. And I think for us now, knowing where we're at, I think it's time for some trades there. KJ Osborne leaves the Panthers and he heads to the Bears. In return, Gerald Everett heads out. Looks like Kyer Elam leaves the Chargers and goes to the Broncos there for Jaleel McLaughlin. So kind of an interesting move on that one there for the Chargers and the Broncos. Trading within the division is always so weird to me. The Eagles have done it now with the Commanders, but it's always so strange for us. So I wanted to make sure, you know, at the trade deadline at week 9, knowing that we're winning, let's make some moves. So we went ahead and sent a trade here. Aaron Stinney was a backup right guard. We sent him over with a 5th round pick for David Ojabo. Main reason there, he's on 1 year on his contract, and I thought for us, this is an opportunity for us to have some more depth on the linebacking role, and maybe we can sign him. Next move is Evan Neal and Cordell Flott for Logan Hall. I think this is huge for us. I think Logan Hall is quite underrated. We tried to go, I thought about Shoyinka and moving him to D-line, but I think Logan Hall will just be fine. And look at this, we found depth at running back. We had depth at linebacker. I think Moises is just fine. We sent Sanborn a 4th and a 5th for Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet is never going to be that big starter there as Kenneth Walker's doing his thing. So I'm like, man, why the hell not? Let's get him going there. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. Knowing that we brought in Charbonnet, we needed to move on from Eric Gray, so we sent him to the Texans since they only have 2 running backs. We also went ahead and grabbed another tight end for some depth there to let go of a 3rd free safety. So I thought those were all good moves. We're 6-2. We're adding players onto this team that could potentially, you know, contribute with the roles that they have, and I'm happy for that. I think one of the things that we, you know, many people try to do in Madden is, hey, let me go ahead and grab all these big stars and let's make this big move. I think sometimes when you're developing your team, it's about also making sure you have a roster that's solid from top to bottom. Look at this throw right there by Hooker to Wan'Dale Robinson. Ridiculous play by this young man, dude. I'm telling you, Hendon Hooker, if I didn't have Shedeur Sanders, Hendon Hooker wouldn't be too bad there. But the fact that we were a top 2 pick, you know, you gotta make your move and grab your quarterback now. In real life, you know, what a move right there. That little double move on Andrew Phillips got him smoked. But why not change regimes now. I think in real life, if you're going to allow Shane and Dable to pick a QB, you're basically saying, good throw right there to Wan'Dale Robinson, you're basically saying that you're going to hang on to Shane and Dable for another 2 years. If you bring in a quarterback and you change the regime after 1 year, that regime has no obligation to that new quarterback, that rookie quarterback, which means you can have the same situation that you saw in freaking Arizona. They traded for freaking Josh Rosen. That regime gets fired, and then they draft freaking Kyler Murray. That's ridiculous. You don't trade that much draft capital for the same position, especially for early picks. It's really dumb. So I think for us, we had to make that move, and in real life, I hope that they make the decision. If not Shane, I think it should be at least Dable. I don't think Dable's the right guy, in my opinion. I think he might be a good offensive mind, but I don't think he's a good head coach when it comes to leaders, and it's just not the right fit. And Shane, my goodness, dude, I think he's made a lot of mistakes. I think he's over analytical right now, and I think he has to kind of understand that too. You can't just look at numbers and think like that's going to work out, because that was a good player there on the defense, but you can't just assume like that's going to work out for you. You have to also look at the people and how they potentially influence those numbers, because I don't think it's necessarily just the player, the cap that's an issue. You got to think about how does that make sense for the squad, giving up people that are considered leaders on the team. Xavier McKinney, Saquon Barkley, Jason Pinnock recently, like all these things, all these moves are weird to me. Leonard Williams prior to that, getting a second round pick though, a second and a fifth, you can't be upset about that. But man, you need to find some leaders, and I just feel like they're just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard right now. It's so random. So that's the real life aspect of it. But I think right now how we have this team set up is the depth is there. We figure that component out. But we just have to work through the strategy of it. I think we got the right players there. I have an idea of what I'd like to do for one of my coordinators. Offensively, though, it's been such a night and day experience for us. Last year, I just was not having fun. Last season, Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, and Drew Lock, it was an ugly situation, pretty much what you're seeing right now in real life. And here, even with Hendon Hooker, how he's been playing, it's kind of amazing to see what a difference it makes just having competent quarterbacks. It's kind of nuts. What I'm also liking right now too is like the running back situation's been working out. In real life, Tracy is the main guy there, but Singletary in this game, he's got a dev trait and he's playing freaking really good right now. So I can't complain from that group there. I just want to see some other pieces going. I felt like we made the right move with this draft pick there and Torrey Horton coming over from CSU. Yes, there's a little rivalry there with Shador and Horton because of college, but when you get to the NFL, you gotta take those away. You may have some off-field discussions about which college is better, but when you're on the same team, you ignore it, and most people do. I think the ego disappears from a college standpoint once you join in the NFL. You're just kind of like, I'm gonna do my good dot right there by JJ McCarthy. So what I would like to do with this squad here is continue to try to work through it. I think our edge rushers are looking really good right now. You're talking about Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns that continue to go at the QB. So the edge rushes has been fine, and I've actually been very happy just rushing for a lot of moments and leaning into the zone, and it's kind of helped us out. Look at this throw right there. That is so crazy. Hendon Hooker, bro. He gets one win with the Commanders, and look at the trajectory that changes, man. Did it on his own, run it in last game, and now today he is in this game here against the Vikings. He's doing lean pocket too. I'd say the O-lines played ridiculous There you go. That was a great throw. Torrey Horton again, man. I'm telling you. Now, you know, he's not going to surpass Neighbors, but you don't need to surpass Neighbors. When you're a good number 2 wide receiver, oh my gosh, things work out for you. Kayvon Thibodeau with the sack there. You know, you see it in a lot of different wide receiver cores. The number 2 ends up being really good. Right now, on the Seahawks, the rookie and Jackson Smith and Jigba is finding his way through because they got to worry about DK Metcalf. Darnell Mooney is popping off, knowing that they have to watch out for Drake London and Kyle Pitts. So the number 2 wide receiver is a huge commodity to have, and look at that. Having someone like Zach Charbonnet there, I know when it's time to move on from Devin Singletary, we're going to be okay. Him and Tracy are going to do their thing. I was so happy to find a power back, and the Seahawks wanted to get rid of him. I am happy we took him there. Charbonnet is no joke. McFadden's been playing quite well too, which I'm happy to see there. We ended up winning that game here 24-10, which I'm pretty happy about. The things that I'm liking right now with linebackers too, by the way, is McFadden's doing his thing, and I think he could be the heir apparent there if something were to happen to somebody like Karake. And Musawa will do just fine there too. So, you know, knowing that crew's okay, maybe we draft like a late round middle linebacker or draft somebody in the or pick somebody up in the free agency market just to help out that depth. But we had 4 linebackers like Jack Sanborn and we let him go. But I had to be willing to be okay to let Sanborn go for somebody like Charbonnet. Now with Shudor back here, like I said, I think Hooker did his thing. He held it down. He played quite a bit of games for us, and once he got comfortable, it was good to go. But with Shedeur back, you know, it's time to make this run. You would think only losing 2 games, we would be very solid in our in our playoff hopes. But right now, the NFC East is still killing it. The Eagles, well as the Cowboys, are doing their thing. So we got to keep fighting to keep our lead there. This defense continues to do our thing. I'm happy we have the new safety, by the way. That's actually something I wanted to bring up. Makuba ends up surpassing Pinnock in this series. And I think Makuba and Newman are going to be the future there for the Giants safety group. I think it's really helping out. Shedeur tries to throw into triple coverage there, and Caden Ellis makes his pay. But the safeties right now are looking good. I think with the corners, Andrew Phillips being this slot, I think we're good in that area there. Stokes as well as Banks, they're playing right. Maybe we bring in another group of corners, but I don't see myself having to worry about it. My main focus so far, what I've recognized with this team, is O-line. I'm going to have to invest because the right guard position works out to a certain extent, but it doesn't really hang on because Reduce plays fine when he's in there, and then when he's not, dude, our team pays the price at right guard. So giving up Evan Neal was definitely a risk at the trade deadline, but I wanted to allow him to find a new spot, hopefully a resurgence in his young career. For us, I have faith in Reduce at this time. Nice little jump right there by Charbonnet, touchdown. Nice to see. The defense, I think, plays well. We just got to find our rhythm on offense. Once we do, though, Shedeur Sanders ends up being such a huge player. He's a big focus for us. But like I said, once he has that time, he starts throwing dots like that. It's kind of ridiculous. Can't stop him, man. Hopefully next year, we try to go for a big free agent pickup on the O-line. Illumino, I think, has the ability to play okay at right tackle. I'm just not quite sure how long he can play right tackle. We may have to move on from him or move him into the interior to kind of keep his longevity going in NFL career, because he's got might be pretty good at right guard there for us. The linebackers have been talked about. The D-line has been talked about. Safeties, corners have been talked about. Now I want to think about special teams. Graham Gano has not been as incredible for us as I was hoping, right, towards the later part of his career. And I'm thinking we might have to cut him season cap space, but also I think it's good to get younger on the kick special team side to kind of save for cap. Another pick by Shador, right? He's back after a lengthy time away to injury. That sucks, but you don't stop throwing with your guys that do this. Rolls out, hits Horton. He's finding his reliable receiver right there. Him and Horton seem to have a very good rapport in this series here. This is a Detroit Lions stock playbook there. All I did was just update game plan so I didn't have to. What a play right there by Shador. Oh, they have him down at the 1? Yeah, thought it was a touchdown. Oh, wait a second here. It looks like it's going to be a holding call, and guess who it was? I was just talking about him, Dylan Radunz. But I'd love to spend more money on the O-line, 100%. But it's so nice to have a quarterback that I can lean. Look at that play. Ridiculous. Over the shoulder. Nothing colder, baby. Torrey Horton getting it done on that one. You really can't be upset with a player like Shador. What's the status of this series? I would say the status of the series still applies. What a catch right there by Noob. I want to keep running this thing. We should be able to have like another 3 months or 4 months of Madden before it starts to slow down. And the reason why I say that is because about 4 months into that, MLB The Show comes out, and I think that's when I'll probably go heavy on baseball at that point. Some of the ideas that I have for the next game. Good throw by Shador. If we do it for about 4 months, that gives us some room to where we should be able to get through another 2 seasons. But I like what we're doing right now. That the Giants series is fun. It's kind of weird. Playing against the CPU on Madden seems to be fun. And the community also is probably reflecting that too. What a post. But the user versus user on Madden, I heard, is even worse than NCAA. NCAA, to me, something's broken with the CPU versus user versus CPU aspects. Something does not feel right. And I really believe it's like 3 or 4 updates ago where Heisman made sense. You didn't have to do all these hot routes and adjustments. Just play it like a simulation like I can do in Madden. I shouldn't have to hot route any of my guys in Madden in order to play a simulation game. It should just be the right call is the right call. If it's not a great call, you pay the price. But if every call you make is bad, like, how did you make that determination? It's so weird to me how they've done that there in Madden. But the Giants series has been fun with Mat 10 sliders, no issues there. Simulation series on both sides too have also been pretty fun. But like, it's the user versus CPU dynamic where something doesn't feel right. I think when it comes to user versus PvP, user versus user on NCAA, I heard it's been pretty fun. I played a couple games like that. Didn't feel like the game was cheating. But when you're playing against a CPU, something feels like predetermined, which is not great. In Madden, I would feel that every now and then, especially when you're winning a lot. But that's actually has not felt like the game is trying to freak you out. You're gonna get a random fumble like you would in NCAA, where it just feels like a pick's gonna happen if you don't run the ball at a certain time. Like, it's so weird. It's like a progressive slot or something. Like, it's like you just keep playing and playing and playing, and if you stop playing, maybe the odds are against you. It's so weird. But right now, PvP is not something I really play too much, or I actually don't do at all on Madden, because I just know the game itself is just not in a great spot. And I don't know when it'll be. But right now, when it comes to the user versus CPU, like, players that are supposed to be great, like Malik Neighbors, end up playing great. Players that are not so great, you have to work within their realm. Hendon Hooker, for example, is like a 67, 68 overall quarterback. You just got to work within his means. Don't do anything stupid. Lean on the O-line to protect him, and just fine. But if you try to run more with a low OVR guy that's not a designed runner, or you try to throw that deep throw a whole lot more because you feel like that's the way where you should win it, it just doesn't make sense there. Understand the players you got, and you gotta... What a catch. What a catch by Malik. How incredible is this guy, man? It's so stupid how good this guy is, man. Holy crap. I'd say the O-line is doing his thing. Doing their thing there. A couple holding calls today have not been great, but I'd say the team is just fine. As long as we can keep Hooker, you know, upright, team's doing very well. Or Shador, excuse me. Keep him upright, you should be. The Giants series, like I said, the series is going to keep going. I'm trying to think about, you know, maybe having more of a designated day for each series. Maybe that'll kind of keep that going there. So we'll think about that as we head into the final, into next year, 2025. Maybe we change it up a bit. But right now, I just like to get the games out there. That was such a ridiculous clash by BFW. But Bryce Ford Wheaton let the guy run back. And this is kind of a little bit of a tell right now in Madden, where if you throw the ball late on a vertical, for some reason the DB ends up going so far back versus running alongside the wide receiver all the way. It's like there's some potential anticipation there. I know there's something with AI in the game, which is quite weird, but that's an easy play there for the Cardinals. But it's so weird that the DBs play a certain way. And I wish there was another way to understand if there was a hot route being by the CPU too. I see that more in NCAA than I do in Madden, but look at this. Singletary, see, I'm talking about it. Charbonnet's been doing his thing closer to the goal line, but Singletary, he's been such a great player for us. Really proud of how he conducts himself here in Madden for us. Plays very solid. I hope he ends up being okay, but like I said, man, the regime right now in New York, I feel like needs to change prior to the draft of a QB. I just don't think Dable's going to be there that long. They could say that he hasn't lost the locker room, but the decisions that are being made, if it's not Dable and then it's Shane, it's pretty bad that Shane's making those decisions. Then players, like, I don't know, man. I don't think Hard Knocks really portrayed the Giants in a great light. We end up winning this game too here by a landslide, as you can see, 49-12. It was a whooping that right now the Giants are just really killing it. So I'm hoping we can keep that up there, fellas. This has been a really fun episode. We'll have one more overview like this in the next one, but appreciate everyone that stopped by. Y'all have yourself a good one.